What a beautiful day it is, and what an outstanding night it was last night as we watched number 7th in the state, Johns Creek, face off against number 12th in the state, Walton, in their first real season match of the 23-24 school year in our very own Coliseum. Today, we're debriefing everything about the game as well as some highlights to watch from our Gladiators. For Johns Creek Sports News, I'm Daniel Corey. I'm joined by my two fellow JCNN hosts, Eli Leron and Andrew Redmond.
Yeah, last night was an outstanding night. Going into the game, though, it was pretty cold. I think temperature was around 35 degrees.
Yeah, I can confirm that because we were filming for about 2.5 hours, and I wasn't able to feel my hands until about 3 hours after I got home.
Yeah, man, I was there too. It was freezing, but regardless, an outstanding game. We blew out a top-ranked team in the state and ranked team in the country. Like, unheard of.
Right, I mean, you could just tell the outcome of the night was going to be based off the energy of the huddle. Like, I could just tell being in the huddle, being by it, it was crazy energy.
And Bowler said, and I quote, "We worked harder than them, we wanted it more than them, and we brought it home."
Yeah, you can definitely see the team's mentality, how it's changed this season. Like, they want it. They want it bad. They're hungry, and they're coming to get it. It looks very promising this year.
Yeah, last year they came up short of that finals championship. Like they made it to the semifinals, and they don't want the same outcome. They want to go to the finals. So they want it.
And talking to some of the guys on the team, they did all say that they have been putting in the work in the offseason. They have been working every single day to make sure they are peak fitness. They have their skills down. They are 100% of what they can be right now. They are at the best shape that they have ever been in as a team and as individuals.
And they're hungry. They're hungry to win. And you could tell last night, like just going into the game.
Yeah, especially in the first 10 minutes when we scored that goal. Zay McDonald got the goal in the first 10 minutes. And it was off the rebound from the keeper. But although it was a rebound, it was still a pretty impressive goal, especially positioning-wise.
Right. I mean, he was in position. You could tell he wanted that goal. He didn't care that it was a rebound off the goalkeeper. He was in there and ready to score.
Yeah, I mean, I agree completely. It shows how much these players are aware, and they're searching for that ball. They're searching wherever it is. Oh, it hits off the post. Oh, they're there, and they want to score. They're taking all their opportunities.
Yeah, and another thing that some of the players were saying was that they weren't focused on not only their fitness and what they can do physically, but they were also focused on the mental aspect of it because it is a mental game. You have to know the opponent. You have to know how to beat the opponent. And that's exactly what they were training in the offseason. And that's exactly what they're going to go out and do every single game.
Right. Speaking of knowing your opponent, Freddie Warner last night, going into the game, that guy knew what he was doing. He knew everything. Coming from the UK a couple years ago, last night, incredible defense. He knew his opponent, knew what they were about to do, and the stops he had.
Good old Freddie, mate. He had an aluminum boot.
I saw it coming. I saw the smirk on his face.
He was all over that ball, man. He was stopping every single person that was next to him. He did not get through, bro.
I mean, coming out of Spain and England when he moved here a couple years ago, it's safe to say he is world class. He is a world-class player.
That's true. And although there was some unfortunate things that we'll get into later, I would like to talk about another great defender we had, Will Lawton, last night.
Me and Redmond were on the field, and I looked at him because we were both on the other team's goal to make sure we get them scoring, Johns Creek scoring. And I told him after the first 15 minutes of watching Will play, I said one of us has to go over there and film him because of how much he was sliding. He was not letting anyone get past him.
All over that, man.
Yeah, he was a human highlight reel last night, and especially in that first half.
Yeah. And after that, I mean, it was clearly not just like the amazing defense that we had, but it was the amazing teamwork we had with our two senior captains, Ike and Julian. Julian had amazing callouts, and I mean, he was great midfield.
I mean, Ike also in the center back, he was doing a wonderful job. Both of these seniors, I would like to point out, were on the varsity team 4 years ago when we had first made the state championship against Lassiter, and they are going all in this year. Every single senior, they want it bad, and they are going to fight for it.
The captains especially, I'm at the game, and I'm just hearing screaming. Like, they're controlling everything that's on the field, and they're leading this team, and they're leading them to victories.
Yeah, and like you said, Ike and Julian both were the loudest people on that field, especially like even if they didn't have the ball, if they weren't involved in a play, you could still hear them from across the field screaming call-outs and
stuff. But it wasn't long when Julian did have the ball when he went ahead and scored and put us up 2-0.
He did. He was initiating the entire offensive line, so it was about time for him to shoot that through ball and maybe maybe get himself a goal there.
I also want to go back to the point where you were saying that they're loud. It wasn't just their voices that were loud. Their plays were loud. Their plays were effective, and it hurt Walton's defense. They were on it.
Yeah, they stayed precise. They were quality over quantity. Quite literally, they made sure to pass. They played it through the back, and then whenever they get the slightest opportunity, they made sure to maximize on it. It showed that we are here to control the game. We ended with the possession of at least 2/3 of that half. We were there. We controlled. We did not let the other team take us by storm.
I maybe saw Walton have 1 or 2 possible goal opportunities, but that defense and that offensive control, they were toying with them. They were toying with them.
For sure. I mean, just like I was talking about earlier at the beginning of the game, where you could just tell there was energy. Halftime was no different going in. You had Johns Creek all standing up. They were hyped. They were ready to go. And Walton was over there in a corner sitting down. You could just tell that it was not going to be a pretty second half.
Yeah, I mean, the energy was up halftime. They were motivating each other. They were making sure not to give up on the game and not to just assume that they won. So they went in. They played time stall. In the second half, they weren't too aggressive with the attacks. They made sure to just play to their advantage.
Although, unfortunately, they did get that one opportunity when back to good old Freddie. He made that one little error, which questionable call by the ref for that penalty, but did get a penalty shot, and that did go ahead and put the game at 3-1.
Yeah, the attacker did end up getting into the box that one time. Freddie did have him covered, but the ref, I thought that he saw Freddie pushed him, which I was watching, and I did not see anything.
I didn't see it either. I thought it was a bogus call.
Stuff like this happens.
It's the name of the sport, but that's why we score those insurance goals.
Yeah, and then also coming into the half, we did see a lot of subs getting put on.
Oh, yeah.
We saw more people that don't have as much experience with varsity getting their plays.
I didn't think there was going to be any subs, so it was cool to see that they did get the playing time.
Yeah, exactly. And then coming into the half, we did end up seeing JV players from last year ended up moving up to varsity. It shows that they were able to play with varsity players of a higher level with a nationally ranked team.
But not just players from last year, though. You had freshmen go into the game.
Speaking of freshmen, Samak, man. Samak.
Incredible game last night.
Beast.
Samak did get that goal. He did get that goal in the 75th minute.
Scoring as a freshman on one of the best teams in the country.
That's something else.
It doesn't get better than that. Seeing the true celebration that he had afterwards and the energy, just the pure joy he had. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, they were all hyped up together. They were all celebrating together.
Coming over to the students who were cheering him on, man. It's great to see.
It was a great moment. And then it also shows how well the JV team is in Johns Creek as well at preparing their players to move up to that higher level. As we saw, the entire back line was a JV team last year, moved up to varsity, and they were still able to control.
Yeah, I've got to say, speaking of one of those players, my boy, Noah Guietta, the Italian stallion, had a beautiful ball downfield to Soma Iwaki, who came back from Japan this year. He is
incredible. He's
insane. He's quick.
Speed he has.
Insane. And he was, multiple times, he was very close to scoring. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. But, I mean, let's talk about how Soma came back from Japan. When he left, he was a swing on varsity as a freshman. Okay, he had varsity opportunities as a freshman. He left. He went to Japan.
I did speak to Soma before the season even started about a couple months ago, and he did say when he first got to Japan, he was last on the bench on his team's B team, and ending off his season, about to come back to America, he was in the middle of the A team. He was starting some games. He was benched a little bit, but for the most part, moving that drastically up on a team, it has to be crazy.
Yeah, for sure. We do have 4 pretty good seniors also with their body at the line going on and committing today on signing day to their colleges. Julian Zahair is going to the University of Georgia Southern and playing D1 soccer for them. We have 3 other commits. Zay McDonald going to the University of Tampa. We also have
Chase Holub going into University of Wisconsin Stout. And then we also have Sawyer Williams going to LaGrange.
Yeah, and it's crazy. You could just see that last night. The team had incredible passion, incredible energy, wanted to win, and I hope to see that going on later.
And I've got to add to that, it's not just their passion and drive, it's their talent. We can see by these kids going on signing day today. This team is insanely talented. which gives even more reason and more hope to win the state championship this year.
Yeah.
I do look forward to seeing later.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, these guys have drive this year. They are going all in. They are not going to take anything for granted. They know how it feels to lose a state championship 4 years ago. And these boys, it's a different group this year. They are determined. Some have said that this is the best team that we've ever seen at Johns Creek High School. And I feel like they will prove it every single game that they play.
Oh, yeah.
And I definitely think having a great leader like Coach Kelly Bowler did at the end of the game, I mean, that's probably what does help them get some energy, get some passion into the game. His wise words last night, I didn't hear too well. I know you did, but...
Yeah, he did say he was proud of the boys. He said, I'm proud of you guys, but I'm proud of you guys tonight. We're going to show up and we're going to keep working. We wanted it more than them. We worked more than them. We took it home.
And that definitely introduces that the job's not over mentality. They're happy in the moment, but they're not too excited and they're not celebrating too much because they know that job's not done. They have a long season ahead of them, and they are going to win it. They want it, and honestly, I don't think anything can stop it when you have that kind of mentality.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the game, these boys, we expected them to be a lot happier having beat a nationally ranked team and such high stakes for them.
No, but you got to remember, they're also nationally ranked.
Yeah.
They are going to be number one. I'm counting on it. They will be number one.
It will happen.
Yeah.
And we're going to see them in the state game.
So, yeah, and they've got the talent, they've got the mentality, they have the drive, and they have the professionalism as well, as none of them really talk trash to the other team as we likely see in a lot of these high school games.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't talk trash. They stayed in their own lane. After the game, they weren't too hyped about it. They waited for the other team to even get in the buses and go home before they even showed a smile. And these guys were happy, but they were never too happy, as in they have bigger things in mind. This is just a small step in
They'll celebrate
in the
when the
staircase.
job's done.
Exactly. They will celebrate at state, and they're saving all that energy for state.
For sure.
A truly amazing performance from our Gladiators and a great way to kick off the season. As always, for Johns Creek Sports News, I'm Danielle Corey, signing off.